This is Richard Smith with the Kansas City Chiefs Power Hour Podcast, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs. Well, how are we doing, Chiefs Kingdom? It is another great day here, and we are here to talk about Chiefs football. Just another great way to start a Sunday. There's plenty to talk about today. We beat the Packers 33-21 Thursday night in an exciting game. And, there's some things to take away from that game. Obviously, it was to see what our depth is doing and to solidify the 53-man roster, which, those cuts took place by 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, which I will touch base on later. But, man, what a great game. With Armani Watts doing his thing, which was a great deal. We really enjoyed that.
There's a pick at the 45-yard line. Little chance for a run back. Single safety at the back of the D, and it's picked off Armani Watts. Great way to start this.
Hey, that was a wonderful way to start the game for him. He had 2 interceptions and was quite efficient in the game. And obviously he had solidified his spot on our roster already. So it was nice to see him get those 2 interceptions and really show us what he's going to bring to the table. It was also nice to see Chad Henne effective and being efficient. That's what we need as a backup quarterback. But he's dropping some dimes in there, folks. He's looking really good. There's some other great things to take away from this. Byron Pringle. Wow, what a game! What a game! I just can't even stress how great that was to see that man show off his speed, his versatility. Unfortunately, he went out with an injury, but that just shows you more depth that we have. So it was nice. Even kick returns.
And the 61-yard catch in the first half.
So that's just one of the many things that Byron Pringle brings to the table is his kick return ability, his receiving ability. I mean, he was open all over the field. He had a 40-yard catch, a 60-yard catch, a 60-yard kick return. I mean, this man was everywhere. And I hate to see him go out with a hamstring injury, but that's part of the game. And I hope to get him back out there for week 1. We'll kind of wait as the week progresses to see how, the extent of the injury. So, another great takeaway from the game was Darren Williams getting, rushing touchdown and sealing his spot on the roster. And that was just, excuse me. It was Darrell Williams over Kerwin Williams, and obviously Kerwin Williams got cut on Saturday, which, we had 3 Williams in the backfield, and it was almost hard to keep them all straight. We need to let go of one of them. And, we also cut loose Charkandrick West. So we're really just narrowing down all of our talent, which there's plenty of. The pick 6 to seal the win, that was great. I cannot remember who was the one who intercepted that ball and ran it in, but it was just nice. Our depth did great. I mean, that was a fun game to watch. It was exciting. So, I think it made it easier on Andy Reid, Big Red, to go ahead and make these roster decisions. And, we're adding pieces to the puzzle as well. Jordan Lucas we added from the Dolphins for a 7th-round pick. He's a cornerback from Miami, and he's going to be a special teams menace. But, if you haven't heard that name before, look him up. That's a really good pickup. And, the only reason why the Dolphins cut him loose is they have an already loaded defensive secondary. So we really needed him, especially after cutting David Amerson, which, wow, that was a shame. I expected a little more out of that man, but hey, we can't have them all. And I'm glad we're weeding through, and it's actual, even the guys that we brought in that we thought would be, a huge name in our scheme, in our secondary, we cut them loose. It doesn't matter what your name is. It depends on the production that you bring to the table and if you fit our scheme or not. So it was nice to see him go because he really wasn't doing anything in our defense. And a big controversy here, and Chiefs Kingdom might not be happy about this because we've seen production from both of these players. Chase Litton was cut. We picked McGloin over Litton, but it's because of veteran leadership qualities. When you have a young quarterback as a starter, you want as much veteran depth as possible, and we really just need two quarterbacks back there that have more experience than Mahomes, and that was the main reason for cutting Litton. And he'll go somewhere. Somebody will pick him up. I doubt he's going to walk away from the NFL completely. There is definitely a team out there that's going to need a solid third string, and you never know with Litton. He might step it up and become a starter on a team someday, but let's be honest, it won't be for the Chiefs. We have our starting quarterback. We just needed depth. So we didn't want to also hold him back from his potential. It wouldn't be fair to Litton. So, he looked good. Gloin looked good. Chad Henne looked great. I mean, our depth at quarterback is looking really, really good. Really, really good. So, with that being said, Ben Niemann, he was signed over Eligwe, and I also like that too. Neiman showed us a lot here in the preseason and through training camp, and it was really nice to see him get signed. He made some big time plays and was just a really solid all player. For the linebacking position, and we need some depth as well. So, and all this is about depth. And like I said, Darrell Williams got signed over Kerwin Williams. We cut Kerwin loose. And so here is the bigger names that we released here Saturday. Jace Amaro. We all know Jace has been with the Chiefs for a few years and, really hasn't done a lot, but there were some plays here and there where, he was efficient and made a splash for our team. But he just, we have Demetrius Harris. We don't really need Jace Amaro, and I'm glad that we have Harris. He is great, and he's facing that 1-game suspension, and it is what it is. I'm not going to go into those details, but like Big Red said, he's got a 1-week break. So we'll get him back in week 2. We need him. He is great when we run the double tight end package. So. There's a number of things that go into these cuts. David Amerson already touched base on that. He was just a splash in the pan, and I wish he would have done a little bit more, but that's not the case here. So, Jehu Cheston, I definitely saw that coming. The man he wasn't learning the scheme. He wasn't learning the playbook. He wasn't consistent. There's a lot of reasons why we cut him loose. And, last year, we kept him around because we needed depth, but you really didn't see him do a whole lot. So that tells you where we're at on our team and our depth and what we're really looking at here. These are critical moves that we're making, and Brett Veach and Big Red know what they're doing. And Big Red said, make it hard on Veach. Make these cuts hard on Veach. Play your heart out. And you saw these guys playing their hearts out against the Packers. And I hope that continues through the season, because on any NFL roster, which it always should be, it should be the next man up. And we're seeing that, in multiple scenarios, with Armani Watts and Traymon Smith and things like that. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these rookies, possibly take starting positions. So it's going to be fun. I really enjoy, I can't say I enjoyed watching these cuts, but that just lets you know where we're at as a team and what we're looking for, into the future. Keith Reeser, I saw that coming. Arion Springs was another one who got cut. I would have like to see him stay in the depth, but we really do have a lot of depth at the cornerback position now, or really in the secondary period. I know that seems a little shaky, but it's really not Kansas City. I mean, when we're cutting Arion Springs and David Amerson, that should show you where our team is stacking up. So, like I say, and I will continue to say, and really this will be the last time I do say it, because, hey, look, Week 1 is coming up. We are headed into the regular season, and there will be no more generic football. This is the time where we're going to cut loose our starters, and everybody will see what we bring to the table. We also cut loose Frank Zombo. It was time. There's too much depth there at the linebacking position. Braylon Speaks. He comes on the team as a rookie and is really, really doing a great job, along with our starters. So it's just a situation where it's a hard day in the NFL. There's over 1,000 players cut loose in the NFL in one day. Think about that. Over 1,000 players losing their positions on the team. But that's football, and you want the best 53 men on your roster. So, with that being said, I know we all trust Brett Veach, and we all trust Big Red and our coaching staff, Bob Sutton. It's just one of those things that, Dave Tobe, we trust them, and we know what they bring to the table. So, with all of that being said, I want to move on to a huge, huge deal in the AFC West. Khalil Mack. Okay, Khalil Mack was traded to the Bears. The only thing that really scares me about that situation is the Raiders getting 2 first-round draft picks for him. But I'm excited to see him go over to the NFC and not stay in the AFC. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know if him and the coaching staff weren't really seeing eye to eye, or if the man got big money, over $100 million. It's well deserved, but I'm glad he's out of the AFC West. That's a big deal for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it looks like the Raiders were trying to load up on offense, which they also cut Martavis Bryant, and I would like to see the Chiefs go after Bryant because he did really, really well in Pittsburgh. So it really just depends. John Gruden is a hard-nosed guy, and I can see him butting heads with players, and it's obvious it doesn't matter who you are or the impact you have on that team. What he says goes, and he's a gridiron type of coach. So, and I don't knock Gruden. I know he's going to put a good squad out there for the Raiders, but, let's be honest, it isn't the Chiefs. I want to see us, win another AFC West championship, win another AFC West championship, and then win the AFC championship, and move on to the Super Bowl. And, that's our big plateau here, and it's possible for us. It's possible for us, especially with Khalil Mack leaving the AFC West. So I know Chiefs Kingdom is really, really excited about that move. Obviously, he wasn't going to come over to the Chiefs. Number one, we don't really need him. Number two, that's a lot of money for one player. And you see what the Raiders got in return. So that's one of those situations that it greatly benefits the Chiefs and greatly benefits the Bears. So moving on, look, we are coming up on the regular season, Kansas City. It is time. It is time. I know all of you are ready. I believe it's this Sunday, and I look forward to this game. Let's see what the Chiefs bring to the table. Now the games count. Now everything counts. Everything that we've been looking forward to in Chiefs Kingdom is now coming to the threshold. Week 1, right around the corner. There is no preseason games left. The 53-man rosters are solidified, and it is time to play some football, Kansas City. Let's get hyped. Let's get out there. I can't wait for the season opener in Arrowhead because I will be there. I am on the 40-yard line, 5 rows up on the Chiefs side. So come tailgate. We're ready. I'm ready to party. And look, I am just going to say this now, and I've said this before in my broadcasts. I want us to set a new world record in Arrowhead Stadium, and I want to be a part of that. So let's get loud. Let's get proud. We are the Kansas City Chiefs. This is Chiefs Kingdom. It is time to get up and go. Let's get ready. It's the start of the season, Kansas City. Here we go. I want to touch base on one more thing before I cut this Sunday broadcast off. My broadcast will be changing. Here soon, it will not be the Kansas City Chiefs Power Hour. It will be the Richard Smith Show. So I want to let you all know that to look for these changes. It will be the Richard Smith Show. So look for me on iTunes. Look for me on iHeartRadio, YouTube, Facebook, all these third-party apps. I am everywhere. So right now it still is the Kansas City Chiefs Power Hour, and you can find me through there. But here very soon, probably within the next 2 weeks, it will be the Richard Smith Show, and I will post it all over social media. I'll let all of you know about this change. So with all that being said, it is a process. I will be out in the Kansas City area. I am finally back here in Kansas City. I'm ready for the regular season, and I'm not going anywhere. It's really nice to be back home and get around these great fans. But just remember, the Kansas City Chiefs Power Hour will change to the Richard Smith Show here in the next couple of weeks, and I will let all of you know that. So I hope you all have a great Sunday, because next Sunday, hey, here we go, Kansas City. It's time. The Patrick Mahomes era starts officially, and it is time to rock and roll, Kansas City. Hey, this is Richard Smith with the Kansas City Chiefs Power Hour podcast, where we talk about all things Kansas City Chiefs.